Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic, all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia. I hope you had an absolutely fantastic week. I know for our USA family, they've been celebrating the 4th of July and the partying, I'm sure, in some places is still going on. And we have a lot to celebrate, I think, in this world at the moment. I mean, yes, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, but, you know, we are still alive and we are still marching forward with our plans and our dreams, and each day we get a little bit more freedom, or hopefully we do. Some parts of the world we do and others we don't, but it's what we have to take in our stride at the moment, because this is what the world is, and we're glad to be part of this amazing journey and interconnecting with everybody. And you know, I had a little point of time yesterday where I reflected back and looked about what's happened just in my lifetime. And when we look at things that, you know, years ago, it was very difficult to communicate with people. We had to rely on the postal service and a letter coming to us or a telegram. Very few people had telephones. And look at where we are today. We can contact anyone in the world at any time, see them face their smiling face on a device or a screen, and we can actually really feel as if we're in the room with them. So I just feel very, very thankful that we have all this modern technology during the time of this pandemic. Imagine how hard it must have been 100 years plus ago when they had the Spanish flu. And, you know, people didn't even really send telegrams much in those days because they were so expensive. So we are fortunate, and we do have to count our blessings. And I think that's something that we've all lost sight of during this. It's all about, you know, what's been taken away from us or what we're feeling deprived about, instead of looking around and saying, hey, gee, I'm grateful and I'm thankful for what we do have and the blessings and the joy that we do have in our lives. Even though times have been tough, we've still found something to smile about. That brings me to the Simply Tarot card of the week this week, which is the Three of Cups. And when I drew this card before the show, I thought, wow, the USA is still partying, and we're going to join in with you guys, because it's a card of celebration. It's a card of brightness and happiness and things just starting to sort of come to fruition in our lives. You know, that we do feel like celebrating, singing and dancing and jumping up and down and having a great time. And I think we need to do that. I think we need to shake things up a little bit and find something that brings us joy in our lives. And, you know, sometimes I think we just get so bogged down in the day-to-day humdrum that we forget to stop and smell the roses or smell the coffee or find some small thing to put a smile on our dial. That, you know, smiles are infectious. If you're in a good humour and you're smiling at the people that you meet, or even the people that you're talking to over the phone or sending an email to, it's interesting, and there's been lots of studies done on this. If you're actually smiling when you're having a conversation with someone and they can't see you, they do actually pick up the vibration, they pick up the energy, and they smile right along with you. So I think this week should be about smiles and bringing some joy to the world. In our own small way, we can make a very, 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 very big difference in this world of ours at the moment. You know, we have so much going on around the world, and it'd be nice to just sort of put some positivity back in there, I feel. So astrologically, big week as always. I seem to be saying that every week. We've just got so much to talk about. And I think it's because there is, you know, there is a lot of stuff happening transit-wise, astrology, which means the planets as they're moving around the solar system and the zodiac wheel. But also I think because we're in such times where we're all searching for answers. We're all searching for that little nugget of information that resonates with us. And, you know, some people take more out of the astrology forecast than others. But, you know, each week my inbox is full with people sort of saying, thank you, you've given me something positive to hang on to, or you answered a question that had been gnawing at me, or it just made me feel better. So that sort of, you know, makes me feel better to know that what I'm sharing with you and my knowledge and my wisdom of astrology and just giving you a little glimpse around the universe at this point in time does really help. So we've still got the sun in Cancer, and this is a nice time of the year where, you know, things around the home, people that are important to us, you know, feeling loved and feeling secure. And for many of us here in the Southern Hemisphere, it's a time of hibernation because it's the middle of winter and we're all cold and freezing and complaining about how cold it is. But, you know, we do manage to get out and go for some walks in the fresh air and things like that. But for our Northern Hemisphere family, families, it's a time of joy. It's a time of getting out and celebrating the sunshine and having a picnic in the park, getting together with loved ones and really enjoying the bounty of your harvest. And it's a time where we really do want to share that with the people that are closest to us. It can also be an emotional time where sometimes people sort of feel a little bit overwhelmed emotionally because everything's sort of very close to you. But that's okay. We've got to be emotional sometimes. We are human after all, and that's part of our DNA. So if you're searching for love, well, let me share this with you. It's the perfect time to get out there and stretch your stuff if you're actually looking for new love in your life. We've got Venus, the planet of love and affection, is conjunct the planet Mars. Mars is traditionally the planet of action. Some people call it the planet of war. I try and avoid that. I like to think of Mars as being the motivator that gets us out of bed. It's our drive. It's our determination. It's where our stickability comes from. Well, if you're looking to find someone new in your life, with Venus conjunct Mars, this is absolutely the most perfect time because it's in Leo. Now, the sign of Leo is about being ostentatious, is about being seen, about being heard, strutting your stuff, sort of, walking the world stage and saying, look at me, here I am. So what better time to look for new love when you feel very confident that you're feeling your best, you're looking your best. And if you attract somebody at this time, chances are they will be feeling exactly the same way. So you're both putting your best foot forward. There's not a lot of hidden stuff here. It's like, this is the best side of me and I'm presenting it to the world. Do you like me or do you not? So I think it's a very magical time for those that are seeking love in their life at the moment. It's interesting because we have, a heavier side to astrology too, where we have lots of things that are going on that we sort of feel, I feel like, I've got a lot of restrictions or I've got lots of responsibility placed on my shoulders. And we do have that part of astrology this week as well. We have the part of fortune, which is known as an Arabian part. And this is not where we find our pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, unfortunately, but it's where we find the best possible outcomes in our lives at this point in time. Now, the part of fortune is holding hands with one of the moon's nodes, which is the north node, which is trying to show us the direction forward. Now, the node is actually holding hands with the moon. Now, these three planetary configurations all holding hands in the sign of Gemini. Now, Gemini is asking us to get out and explore our local environment. Now, what is the message here on this with the Arabian parts, the north node and the moon? I think what they're trying to tell us is don't take anything too seriously at the moment. If you hear something in conversation or you see something on a news feed, if it doesn't feel right to you, then dismiss it. Don't dwell on it. Don't get bogged down on it because there's a lot of information out there at the moment filtering around, probably more so than normal, and not all of it is truthful, is useful, or is even any use to us as an individual. So it's like, have that rule at the moment. If it catches your attention, if it doesn't feel right, then dismiss it. If it does feel right, listen, look at what it is, do a little bit more research. And if then you feel that that's factual and it's important to you, then retain it. If you don't, give it the flick and move on. And don't give it another, amount of airing, don't give it another thought. So it's a time there where there's lots of information coming towards us. Some of us will tug at our emotional heartstrings, but most of it, say 98% of it, is dismissible. That it's just noise in the background that we really don't need to be concerning ourselves with. Now we're going to move on to the part of astrology, which a lot of people find very confusing. When astrologers start to talk about a planet going retrograde, what does that mean? Well, it's seemingly going backwards in the zodiac. So it's like, the story of the two trains, one going forward and one going backwards. But, they seem to be sort of staying stationary at the same time as they're passing each other. Well, it's a little bit like that. So we've got Jupiter, the planet of expansion and opportunity, that is sitting in Aquarius at the moment. No, I beg your pardon, it's sitting in Pisces at the moment. It will be there until September this year. So this means that there may be a little bit of a restriction. There may be a little bit of time to wait for sort of really catapulting our plans and moving forward and getting the expansion and the opportunities that we would like in our life. So we can use this time to really make sure that we shore up any particular deal or project that we want to get going, make sure that we've done all our legwork on it. It's a time to sort of give it a little bit of revision and be ready to go in mid-September to sort of full steam ahead. We also have Neptune, the planet of illusion and delusion, which is going retrograde or backwards at the moment, is also in the sign of Pisces, but he will remain there until December. So what this, with Neptune being the planet of illusion and delusion, but also the planet of creativity, and giving us the time to slow down and sort of say, look, I just don't know, I'm in this Neptunian fog, nothing is clear, nothing is becoming crystal clear yet. Allow yourself, if something doesn't feel right or you don't have all the answers yet or all the pieces aren't there to the puzzle, allow yourself that luxury of time of saying, okay, I'll revisit that again tomorrow or next week or next month when things may be a little bit clearer. We all need to be very much on our guard at the moment with Neptune going retrograde in Pisces, which is the planet, is the energy that it rules, is Pisces, is to make sure that we're not being deceived. Now, look, we can be deceived from the people that are closest to us right the way to the top, to governments and worldwide organisations. We need to make sure if something doesn't feel right in the pit of our stomach, our gut reaction, then maybe it needs a little bit more explanation or a little bit more study or investigation to see why we don't feel comfortable with it, or do we feel we're being hoodwinked. So just be aware of that. I'm not saying every politician around the world is opening their mouth and spewing out lies. I'm just saying be very aware of the information. If it's important to you, make sure that it fits and it feels right to you, because there's a lot of things being thrown out there at the moment, and I think everybody's becoming frustrated and everybody's trying to sort of move things along, and lots of people are trying different things, and maybe, you know, somewhere in the mix of all that we'll find the right direction. Let's have our fingers crossed. You know, nothing ventured, nothing gained was an old saying, but sometimes, you know, caution is a good thing too. So it's a matter of how you balance the equation in your life. We have also Saturn, the planet of discipline and structure and logic in our lives. He's sitting there in Aquarius, also going retrograde until October. So we're sort of looking at sort of from September on till nearly the end of the year, we've got planets sitting in retrograde moments and about to move forward in every month except November. So for the month of October, we've got Saturn, the planet of discipline, which could be putting a little bit of the brakes on some of our plans at the moment. So it's asking us to make sure that we've got everything shored up. We've got a very, very solid foundation underneath us with everything that we're trying to achieve. So we need to make sure that we have all our I's dotted, our T's crossed, and our full stops in the correct place, and then we'll be able to proceed with caution. So we also have Pluto, the planet of transformation, and I talk about Pluto every week on the show and have done for years. Pluto is in Capricorn, has been there since 2008, will be there till about midway next year. His role is to completely transform life in the way that we know it. Now, whether or not that's to do with global warming, whether it's to do with this pandemic, whether it's about you getting your finances in order, restructuring your lives, looking at what's important to you, Pluto is also retrograde until October. The Pluto retrograde, because Pluto spends so much time retrograde, we astrologers, I suppose, in a naughty sort of way, don't take too much notice of that because he spends over half of his life going retrograde. But I think this time it's really important. When we talked about the other retrogrades, Pluto's sort of bringing up the tail end of this, of saying, okay, now if you're all doing your jobs, are you all doing what you're responsible for? Because people need to be able to sort of clearly make choices and decisions for them and their immediate family without too much white noise, without too much chatter. Things need to be very clear. We're all sort of feeling emotionally wrung out from the last 18 months. So now we need to sort of make choices and decisions that we can sort of put a roadmap down and something for us to sort of work towards and goals to achieve without too much distraction. So I hope that that's sort of helped you. I don't mean it to sound negative. It's a, you know, it's a positive time, but at the same time, we've got to keep one eye on where we're going as well. So we're going to talk with Connie in Hutchinson in Minnesota in the USA. Are you there, Connie?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have a question I can work with, please, Connie?
Yeah, I just want to know kind of what you see coming for my life and relationships. Is there anybody there? Somebody?
Well, it'd be nice to think. Look, Connie, I'm a firm believer there's always someone for everyone. But having said that, we need to sort of focus on you and where your life's going. As you were talking to me, Connie, they were showing me a vision of a long road. It's sort of as if you've been on a long, windy, twisty road up until now, where you sort of thought every time you've started to get your life back on track and thought you could see the way forward, you know, where the road was smooth and clear ahead, then somebody threw in another bend or another curve or another bridge for you to cross. Well, I'm pleased to say we're almost at the end of that now, because everything does seem to be starting to become very clear in your focus, and the road itself is clear and long ahead of you. So that's one good thing. The second part of the reading for you is, yes, there is somebody coming into your life. It's very, very interesting because they keep showing me someone from your past. Now, I'm not necessarily the sort of person that recommends we go back and revisit or reconnect with someone from the past. You know, they're usually in the past column for a reason, or they're an ex for a reason. But in this instance, I'm going to say to you, I'm not sure that the two of you ever really had a chance to formulate a relationship to see where it could go. It could have just been one of those situations that you met somebody, you felt very, very connected to them, and they felt the same way about you, but nothing ever happened because you were both in other relationships or marriages, or it was just plain the wrong time. But I do feel this goes a long way back, Connie. I'm not talking about 2 years ago. I'm talking about a long time back. So was there somebody that, you know, 10, 12, 15 years ago that caught your eye, but it was the wrong time?
Holy cow.
Yeah, I know I'm asking you something now, but this is what they were showing me. And they were showing me this man, and I was like, I was getting him in a distance, as if he had a bag in his hand. Now, I wasn't sure what the bag represented, whether that was he took a briefcase with him to work, or was this a case full of clothes? Was he leaving? Was, you know, the journey that he had to go on long? They really didn't give me much to work with, other than I felt this man was crossing your path again. That was somebody that I felt you had met, that had known. I didn't feel there'd been a relationship as such, but there'd been an emotional connection at the time. Like, you know, sometimes we can meet people that you think, gee, wow, I wish I'd met you before I met my husband. You know, you're really everything I've ever wanted. And, you know, it's a fleeting thing that we go there for a couple of minutes or an hour or something, and then we get back to reality. It's one of those sort of situations. And when you do reconnect with this man, it's not going to be, oh, yeah, I remember you from such and such. It'll only be after you start dating and you start getting to know each other that you start to realise that there's a number of crossovers there, and we start to sort of join the dots together. I do feel that you're going to meet him through some friends. And it's not a blind date or an arranged situation. It's one of those situations where some people are going to an outdoor event or going to an event, and they've got another ticket, and they say, would you like to come? You know, so-and-so's pulled out, ticket's going spare. You know, it's a 2-day thing. It's like you're going to have to pack a bag and go overnight and stay somewhere. But it's a really nice thing to do, and it's not somewhere that you would have thought of going by yourself. I sort of feel it's going to be sort of late August, early September. So if one of your friends invites you to something like that at the last minute, rearrange everything and go, because this is where I feel you're going to meet this man. Interestingly enough, I don't think he lives very far away from you, you know, 10, 15 minutes drive away. And this is going to be the start of a slow growing, but a very beautiful, very definite relationship that I feel will grow into something very significant and will be a very serious, committed relationship. There's lots of laughter, lots of fun, and the two of you never stop talking. And I think that's probably the most beautiful connection I've seen in such a long time, where two people can be that comfortable with each other that they talk about anything and everything, and that's you two, you know, with laughter and good times thrown in amongst it. But he's a really, really nice man, and I think he's walked a very, very long and probably at times a very hard road to get to you. And I know, Connie, that you've had the same deal in life too. So it's sort of, it's not so much comparing stories, but it's just sort of like a deep understanding and acknowledgement of the other person and what they've been through, and he gives you the same. I really wish you every happiness, Connie, because I really do believe this is going to be a union made in heaven. It's beautiful. It's, you know, it's almost perfect. It's just lovely to see two people that connect and, you know, everything's right. So I hope that's helped you, Connie.
Yeah. By any chance, this guy military or ex-military?
Can you repeat that for me, sweetie?
Is he, like, was he ever in the military? Army, Navy?
Look, I can't really say yes or no to that because they didn't show me that. I described to you what they gave me, and towards the end of the reading, I think it may have just been a symbol of that he'd walked a long, hard road to get to you. Look, I don't think he was in the military. I don't necessarily feel that, but look, I could be wrong. They didn't give me a signal one way or the other on that. They just told me he was tall, broad-shouldered, around the 6-foot mark, and I feel he's got mid-brown hair. So that's unfortunately, Connie, where we're going to have to leave it, but you go and do some soul searching and cast your memory back today of people that might have fleetingly made an impression on you. We're going to talk with Ashley now in the province of Rhode Island. Are you there, Ashley?
Hi, I'm here.
Hi, Ashley. Do you have a question I can work with, sweetie?
I was wondering if any maybe I can have a medium reading or any general reading.
Yeah, if you've got a question, Ashley, it's quicker for me to sort of zone in on what you need answered, sweetie.
Okay. If any loved ones are around me who have passed?
Look, we always have loved ones that are around us that have passed. And it's interesting because people sort of tend to think that on the other side, they've got nothing better to do than sit there and worry about what we might be doing on, down here on earth. Look, they do that, but they don't necessarily always want to jump in and volunteer with a message for us because they look at it, it's up to us to make our own choices in life. I'm happy to answer a question for you. And if someone chimes in from the other side, which is how they normally connect with me, is they sort of interrupt my reading, if you want to put it that way. What I can share with you is that I do feel that there's a number of endings and changes and transformations coming up in your life at the moment. And I think you sort of feel a little bit stuck at the moment at what's the next step. Is that how you've been feeling, Ashley?
Yes.
Yeah, well, whether you want to take that as a message from beyond with, a loved one that's passed over, or whether you want to just take that as your own spirit guides, which I believe are our relatives that are passed over anyway, or whether it's just, coming from within you, any of those combinations or all of it can be correct. But they were showing me that, by the end of this month, you will have much clearer idea of where you're going and what are the next steps in the journey of the choices that you need to make. I'm feeling there's a question mark around work, so I'm not sure that you're in the right sort of job at the moment. That seems to be floating backwards and forwards. And they're also showing me the potential of study or some on-the-job learning. So is there something that maybe you were thinking of taking up that could enhance your prospects for a better paying job?
My job right now, I actually took on a lot more responsibility. By the end of the month, we will be moving into our new house.
Right.
So that's why you see something for the end of the month.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, moving into the new house and fresh energy and all that sort of thing is good. But I feel after that, you start to question the job situation. And I just kept sort of seeing somewhere between sort of now and the end of the year, something's going to pop into your mind and you're going to think, that's it, that's what I want to do. But to achieve that, I need to go and get this qualification or add this to what I've already got. And then that sets you up in an opportunity then to sort of look at what your job prospects will be going forward. I'm still not convinced you're in the right job, regardless of the fact that you've taken on more than maybe what you're comfortable with at the moment. I'm just not sure if the job, the company and the people really suit you. It's sort of almost like you've outgrown them. And I don't mean that to sound egotistical. It's not that at all. It's just sort of like, really? You think that way, or you're looking at solving a problem this way. It's like all of a sudden your beliefs and their beliefs don't marry together. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all grow and change at the times that we're meant to. So with the new house, is this going to be a place you're going to put down roots for a long time? Is that the plan?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Because that's what I felt.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, to me it felt like I was going to put the taproot down, like this is where I'm going to be for a long time. It's like I really want to get planted. You know, I really want to stay in one spot so that we can open up other areas of our lives. Your husband also, I think, by about March next year, will not necessarily be looking at changing jobs, but I think there's changes around the job for him, which will make him a lot more happy and a lot more settled, and there's a little bit more money coming in. Look, I just sort of feel this next 6 to 9 months is about, don't make any too many concrete plans other than, you know, we're moving house at the end of the month and that's set in concrete. But after that, just let things come towards you, you know, sort of don't be in too much of a hurry to try and get the whole of your life sorted out in a week. The move is a major thing. Let's just get in there, sort the house out, unpack, and enjoy being there, and then let other things come towards you. Because you are quite psychic, Ashley. You do get lots of messages or information from the other side quite often, and you just sort of think it's a brainwave you've had. So when those things come, just take notice of them, because I think you've got lots of changes and lots of positive changes in this next 12 months. So that's where we're going to have to leave, Ashley. We've come to the end of the show again. So I hope that you're starting to really sort of sort out what's important to you in your life. It's a really important time that I think that we start to sort of make some tentative choices and decisions for our future and the remaining part of this year. Even if we don't achieve all of them, or things, you know, in your local area change and you have to reroute the direction that you were going to take because it was out of your control, that's okay. But I think we need to get back to some sort of normality where we're starting to put down some, not just living for the moment or the hour and seeing what's happening. Let's start to play some plans down that we can start to feel that we're getting back into the control of our own lives and not having governments and officials telling us what to do. And I think if we all do that, I think we're going to start to feel as if we're coming out of our own personal pandemic in a way that we feel back in the driver's seat again. So no matter where you are in the world, make sure that you get out, have some fun. Don't forget to put your smile on, because I want this week to be all about smiling, positive energy, and making someone else's day feel brighter because you've smiled and you've shared your personal magic with someone else. So until next week, bye for now.